Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are seeing a breakout above resistance in the short term, while we're also seeing a rare on-chain Bitcoin signal flash right now, which I'll talk more about later in the video, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a really quick update on the daily Bitcoin chart, just letting you know that this bullish divergence on this chart is still active, as I also mentioned yesterday. And so once again, what this means is that we're likely entering into more of a pause within the larger bearish trend at play. So once again, the larger trend on this daily time frame is technically still a bearish trend. We have not confirmed a bullish trend reversal as of right now on the larger time frames, but we are likely entering into a pause within the bearish trend, kind of like back here or back here, for example. But anyway, if you want to know more information about what's happening on this time frame right here, then check out my last video on this channel. But anyway, moving straight into the on-chain Bitcoin analysis. And if I just move my face cam out of the way, you can see that right now we're seeing this signal flash. And the last time we saw a significant spike in this signal was all the way back here during around January this year. And now what this signal or what this indicator actually shows is the supply adjusted coin days destroyed for Bitcoin. And now, first of all, coin days destroyed is basically an on-chain metric that shows how the Bitcoin supply is moving. And how it works is basically, let's just say if I was holding one Bitcoin in a wallet and I didn't move that for 1 day, then essentially that one Bitcoin for 1 day accumulated 1 coin day. So if I was holding 10 Bitcoin, then after 1 day, I would have basically accumulated 10 coin days, 1 coin day for each Bitcoin. And then if I held those coins for longer, they will essentially accumulate more coin days. And so, for example, if I held 10 Bitcoin for 1 week, I would have essentially accumulated 70 coin days. But then as soon as you move those coins, that essentially wipes out those coin days. It destroys those coin days and starts fresh again. And so essentially a spike in coin days destroyed basically means a large amount of Bitcoin or a lot of old Bitcoin that hasn't moved in a while suddenly moved all at once. But remember, this is the supply adjusted coin days destroyed, which basically takes the coin days destroyed metric and then divides that by the total supply of Bitcoin. And so basically what this indicator is showing right now is that just recently, over the last day or so, there's been a relatively large portion of the Bitcoin supply that hasn't moved in a while that just suddenly moved on chain. And what is interesting is, generally speaking, when we see these large spikes where a lot of Bitcoin are basically moving on chain, simply based on recent history, this normally occurs around some sort of Bitcoin bottom, not exactly a bear market bottom, for example, but at least some sort of Bitcoin bottom, a local bottom in the price of Bitcoin just before a move back to the upside. And now, obviously, in this first example, that didn't really occur around a Bitcoin bottom, although just after that massive signal flashed back here in around late 2020, we saw a significant move to the upside not long after that. And looking at the second example, that was during around July 2021. That was roughly around 1 week after the bottom in July, just before the price ran up a little higher during August. And then if you're looking at the next example, this actually occurred within the current bear market, but even then, that signal still flashed around that January low just before the price of Bitcoin actually began a bit more of an uptrend over the next few months, all the way up until around the beginning of April. And so even during the same bear market that we're in right now, once again, this still acted as a bit of a bullish signal, at least just for a couple of months before we continued the bear market later on. And now, obviously, this is just looking at the spikes that are larger than the spike that we're currently seeing right now. But even if we're looking at some slightly smaller spikes in this indicator compared to the one that we're seeing right now, the one that we saw back here in around June this year also occurred around a bottom in the price of Bitcoin just before we saw the price of Bitcoin pump to the upside over the next 1 to 2 months approximately. And going back further, we saw a slightly smaller spike than than the current spike back here during around the end of September 2021, right around a local bottom in the price of Bitcoin just before we continued higher during October. And so once again, I want to make it clear that this signal does not mean we've hit the bear market bottom, guaranteed it's over. But what it does mean is that we're potentially about to see a bit of a pause in the downtrend and possibly even a slight relief in the price of Bitcoin, simply going off all of these previous examples. But anyway, if you zoom into the short-term Bitcoin price action, what we're seeing at the moment is obviously the price of Bitcoin still playing out this choppy sideways price range in between this support, which is sitting at around 15.7 to 15.8k approximately, and this resistance, which is sitting at around 16.9 to 17k. And as of right now, if you're looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin price oscillators, these are looking relatively neutral because, for example, the RSI is only slightly above the neutral level, which is 50, and it's basically trading sideways as of right now, showing very low momentum. And something similar can be said about the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD because the histogram within this MACD indicator is currently declining, showing reduced bullish momentum in the short term, although we haven't yet seen a return in the bearish momentum with a bearish cross. So once again, this is looking relatively neutral. And like I said in my last video, for a little while longer, potentially over the next few days, I still expect the price of Bitcoin to basically chop around within this price range right here. But now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now the price of ETH is currently running into this previous golden pocket level of support, which is now acting as a bit of resistance for the price of ETH. And this is coming into play in between around 1180 up to around 1210. So ideally, we need to see a break back above 1210 with a daily candle close in order to potentially flip a little bit more bullish here on the daily time frame. And if that happens, then I would expect a move up towards around 1.3k. And as for support right now on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, we still have some support right down here at around 1070 approximately. And even though the larger trend at play here is still technically a bearish trend on the daily time frame, despite that being the case, we are still potentially due to see a pause within this bearish trend, most likely some choppy sideways price action here on the daily time frame, like I discussed in my last video. We're likely at a stage in the market somewhat similar to this. And once again, if you want to know more about why that's the case, then check out my last video on this channel. But anyway, if you zoom into the short term, looking at the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, over the last one day, we've just seen a break above this descending line of resistance, which is currently sitting at around 1180. And so while the price of ETH uses 1180 as new support in the short term, technically this is a short-term bullish signal. And in fact, technically speaking, this is a bump and run reversal pattern, which is basically a 3-stage pattern. We have the lead-in phase, the bump phase, and the run phase once we see the break above resistance, which we have already seen as of recording this video. And so now that we've seen this break above resistance, we have a technical price target in play sitting at around 1.3k, because the technical price target for a bump and run reversal pattern is the beginning of the lead-in phase. But with that being said, if you're looking at the 4-hour Ethereum price oscillators, these are showing relatively low bullish momentum as of right now. So just keep in mind, it is unlikely that the price of ETH is going to go straight to that price target all in one go. And instead, it's actually quite possible that we play out a little bit of choppy sideways price action in the meantime, in the imminent short term, maybe over the next day or so, before potentially continuing a little higher later on. And basically, this price target only gets invalidated if we see a confirmed break back below this level of previous resistance. And now, if you want to know how to make a lot of profit in crypto during bullish moves, bearish moves, and even during choppy sideways price action, then make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left of your screen shows you how to make money in crypto if the price is either bullish or bearish, and the video in the bottom left of your screen shows you how to make money in crypto if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.